Oh, I'm glad it's Saturday. Okay, so I'll start off with background information questions.
Yep.
First, how old are you?
I am 43.
43. That's a good number. And where were you born?
I was born in Toronto, Ontario.
And where do you live now?
I live in Port Dover, Ontario.
I really want to visit.
You'll like it.
Yeah, it's nice. How long have you lived there?
3 months.
3 months. A noob. A newbie.
Yeah.
And family composition?
So my family, I am single. Just me and my dog and my bird.
Pepper.
Yeah, me, Pax, and Pepper. I mean, immediate family is my mom, 2 older sisters, an older brother, and a younger sister, and 4 nieces and nephews.
Including me.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So now in this part of the interview, I'm gonna talk about the illness episode.
Yep.
So it's flexible and questions can arise naturally.
Yep.
So can you tell me from beginning to end about your illness event, including how did it all begin?
Oh, okay.
What are the
Okay.
symptoms that most bother you, etc.
So, I, all my life I've been very athletic, very strong, and healthy. I was never skinny, scrawny, but like a solid size 10, kind of, like
Yeah.
athletic, solid.
Yeah.
And never sick, never sickly, And I used to compete in some sports, all the rest.
Yeah.
And then I started working in, I would say, a high pressure environment. And in my early 30s, after 29, I started gaining weight. And I couldn't explain it. And yes, I was less active. I was working a lot, and there was more stress in my life. There was less routine. There's a lot of factors. Okay, but the weight gain was something that couldn't really be explained.
Yeah.
So I went to a GP, and I talked about how this is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he told me that I needed to eat less and exercise more.
That's it.
That's it. Made me feel like crap.
Oh my gosh.
Which, yeah.
Wow.
So it was looking back. I mean, this is hindsight, right? At the time, it made me feel very shameful, right?
Yeah. I would feel that way.
Yeah, but at
Oh
the
my
time, you think, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm working too hard. I'm not
Yeah.
exercising enough, right?
Yeah.
A lot of work lunches, work dinners.
You put it on yourself.
You put it on yourself,
Yeah.
and you just keep working. Like, you just keep going. Right?
Yeah.
You don't stop and think, hold on.
You can't, it's hard to just pause and then,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So, life went on, right? And I kept gaining, even though I, was, at that point, I started working out quite a bit more. And I kept gaining, and I couldn't lose. I was feeling worse and worse. Went to see another doctor, my friend's GP, and not in the same words, but she basically said the same thing.
Yeah.
You need to eat less and exercise more. So I stopped seeing doctors for a while.
Yeah.
And I just kept working. I just pushed through it. And this is years. We're talking years, right?
And when you talked to those doctors and you said I'm confused, I don't get it here, I've been trying and it's not really working, and that's all they said, did you question it? when they said that to you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I questioned it
Yeah.
in that, I haven't
Yeah.
changed my routine, but I'm gaining weight. And
Yeah.
I think part of the issue is I didn't have my own GP, so
Yeah.
I kind of went in on a referral to a new GP,
Hmm.
and they just didn't want to bother, really.
Yeah.
But I think culturally there is a lot of um, shaming
Yeah.
around weight,
Yeah.
and there's this misconception that a calorie in and a calorie out, right?
Yeah.
But all calories are not created equal. It is not that, like
Exactly.
the
There's so
sun.
much more to it.
And the latest science has proven that 1 calorie, like a calorie of, if you get 100 calories drinking a soda versus 100 calories eating broccoli, your body actually behaves differently. Is it recording? So a calorie is not a calorie in, a calorie out. It doesn't work that way. Calories
Yeah.
are not all created equal.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I had 3 different doctors say that to me over a period of about 5 years.
Okay. Wow.
And over this period, I gained, I would say, about 40 pounds. But meanwhile, at work, I was, getting promotions and moving on, and I was working really, really hard.
That's good.
So it got to the point where I was traveling a lot with work, and I ended up moving into the loft downtown.
Yes.
And I finally got myself a GP because 2 blocks away they had opened a brand new medical clinic.
Yes.
And so I went in and I said, okay, like I want to have my doctor, right?
Yeah. And sorry, after those 3 doctors were like a letdown, you were kind of done with it. How long did you not see
Well,
an doctor for?
a year and a half?
Yeah.
A year and a half-ish?
I haven't gone to my doctor's appointment in so long. It's bad.
No.
I've been avoiding it.
At your age, it's okay.
Yeah. I don't want to, I'm not as comfortable anymore with all the measuring and everything and the scale in the hallway. It's too public. You step on the scale.
So get a different office then. It shouldn't be public. It should be very private. Yeah, it's not good.
Anyways.
Yeah. It was about a year and a half, and I moved, and I was always changing jobs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm always changing jobs. I was always changing jobs, and all within the bank though, right? Like I was always moving. So I got myself a doctor. We got to know each other. I like her a lot. She's really super cool. She was very close to where I lived, so it was convenient.
That's good.
I was being treated. I have high blood pressure. I have had for a really long time. That runs in the family.
Yes. Okay.
That also was being affected by my weight.
Right.
And then one day I found a lump on the left side of my neck, and it was growing a little bit.
Yeah.
So they did blood tests, and I went. Actually, my GP referred. She didn't do any blood tests. She referred me to a doctor at St. Joe's in Toronto.
That's good.
And it was a funny day at St. Joe's. I got there early with Dad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so my dad was with me, and he had been diagnosed with cancer about 6 to 8 months prior.
Right.
So we got to St. Joe's early. It was like 9:30 in the morning, and we saw, what was it? I think it was a lymphatic specialist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, lymph node.
Yeah, your lymphatic system.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget the title of his. Anyways, so he felt around and he's like, yeah, it's probably just an infected lymph node. So your lymphatic system is, you can kind of look at it as your garbage disposal system, right? If a lymph node is infected, it just means that you had a clog.
Okay.
You just need to clean the drain, kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So everybody thought, the doctor thought at that point, it's just It's just a lymph node that's not clearing properly. You know,
Yeah.
we can do some stuff to help drain it, and that'll be that, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it was like as
Well,
if
he
an
wasn't
okay
sure.
thing.
Actually, it was an interesting day. He wasn't sure, so he said, "Well, I'm going to send you down to see this doctor downstairs."
Yeah.
So we went downstairs, and this was a hematologist,
Okay.
so it's a blood specialist.
Oh, okay.
And she was super cool. She thought I was like 32. She was very surprised.
Oh,
At the
wow.
time, I was 38.
You've always looked younger than you are.
Oh,
Though.
yeah, it was
You've
really...
always looked youthful, more youthful than you are.
Thank
I'm
you.
not just saying that. Like it's true.
So yeah, she thought, yeah. So I was 38 at the time, and she's like, no, it's not blood related, but I'm gonna send you to an endocrinologist, so it's a specialist of the endocrine system, right?
So you went to different specialists.
In the same day, I saw 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and by the end of the day, they sent me back to the lymph guy, Dr. Blitz.
Oh my gosh,
It was
that
very
name.
cute.
Wow.
And
Oh no
beautiful
way.
Blue eyes, beautiful blue eyes.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Oh, did you flirt?
Yeah, well, you know, you can see pictures of his wife and kids on them. You know, he was a sport. But
awesome.
it was funny because, you know, he was really, he had, out of all the doctors I met,
Yeah.
aside from even including my GP, I would say he has the best bedside manner.
Okay.
He really connects with, like, he was like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I don't know if you've heard of Lean Six Sigma, I'm a master black belt, and he's like, oh yeah, I've heard of that, and
He has a relationship. A little.
Yeah.
It's not just like you're a lab rat
Yeah.
and he's just
exactly.
taking the blood and that's it.
Exactly.
He's with you. there.
I really liked him. He was
Yeah.
very, very good. So they decided that even though they thought it was just a backed up lymph node, they would do a biopsy. You know what a biopsy is?
When you put the needle and you take a piece
A
of
sample.
bone marrow,
No,
or sorry, a sample of
whatever.
whatever it is. Okay, right.
So he did a biopsy, which really hurt.
Oh god.
And we ended up leaving the hospital. We were there all day. We saw 4 different doctors. It was really... So I thought the
Wow.
system within St. Joe's, with the way they balanced us around, worked well. And so Dad was pretty convinced. Oh, yeah, you know, it's just an infected lymph node. You're going to be fine or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went home. Went back to work.
Was feeling fine about it.
Psychologically, I was unsure. But I was very focused. At that point in time, Dad was sick. We were really focused on Dad, right?
Right.
Also,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and also the job that I had at the end there, like in the last 5 or 6 years, was
Intense.
yeah. I mean, I had a global team of like 30 people. I was managing people in Malaysia. There, I was spending 6 months out of the year in Luxembourg. I was
Yeah,
it was a
here,
lot,
there,
right?
doing, yeah.
Yeah, so there was just a lot going on, right?
It was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person that, okay, like I have something going on and yeah, it's on my mind, but I'm going to kind of park it, like until I
Yeah.
get the results.
Yeah,
What am I
you're
gonna
not
do?
gonna stop everything. You're
Yeah,
gonna keep
I'm
going
just
with
gonna
what you
keep-
need,
yeah.
with what you're doing every
And
day.
quite
Yeah.
frankly, I got so used to feeling like absolute crap all the time for so many years
Yeah.
that I just pushed through it. Right?
Crap, like feeling like crap physically.
Yeah.
And mentally.
No, not mentally. Just really.
Just feeling gross.
Oh yeah, like I mean,
Yeah.
I felt like crap all the time. So then they called me to come in for the results, and everybody was so convinced. Everybody at home, well, Dad
Yeah.
and Mom, were so convinced that it was just an infected lymph node that nobody came with me. So I got my cancer diagnosis when I was alone,
Oh wow.
which really upset Dr. Blitz.
Yeah.
Um,
So wait, they phoned you and said.
yeah, we got your blood results. Come in, see Dr. Blitz.
Okay.
So I went in, and to St. Joe's. I mean, at this point in time, I was working from home whenever I needed to, and so that was cool. And when I went in to see him, he was like, "Where's your dad?" And I said, "Oh no, he couldn't make it." And he's like, "Well, you're on your own." And I said, "Yeah, you know, I just came in for the results." And he was like, "Well, you shouldn't be on your own for results."
Yeah.
And I was like,
And you were kind of puzzled.
okay. I was like, just give it to
Yeah.
me straight. And he said, well, we performed a biopsy on your lymph node and we have found cancer. And it's thyroid. So what happens is with cancer is the way they diagnose it. This is evolving right now, but the way they used to diagnose it is they name it from where it originated. My cancer started in my thyroid. I had thyroid cancer. But because they stuck a needle in a lymph node, basically, the cancer had metastasized, had moved from the thyroid to the lymphatic system.
Okay. Which is why it was here.
Which is why it was in the lymph node.
Right.
So what happens is they stage cancer. It's not black and white, but they stage cancer according to how much it moves.
Oh.
So if you have thyroid cancer and it's only in your thyroid, you're stage 1.
Stage 1.
Right?
If it's thyroid and lymph node, you're
Then
stage 2.
Stage 2. Now, if it's
The more places it goes.
Right. So at the time they knew I was at least stage 2. So he said, it's thyroid cancer. It's metastasized to your lymphatic system. We need to get you in for testing quickly.
Yeah.
We need to check this out. So they did. They booked a CAT scan.
Okay.
Oh, worst phone call I ever had to make in my life is calling mom and dad and tell them that I had cancer.
Oh my
Worst
gosh.
phone call I ever had to make in my life.
Were you emotional? Or...
Yeah.
And did you make it alone? Like,
Yeah.
Where were you? Where were you?
I got home. I went home. And
You
I
went
called
home
Dad.
after the doctors?
Yeah, and Dad. I mean, they knew I had my report. They were like, how are you? What did I do? What happened?
Everything, like just a normal
Yeah,
phone conversation.
and I
How
was
are you?
like-
And then what did you say?
I said, well, I just got the results, and Dad said, yeah. Did they give you antibiotics? Because he thought it was. Right? I
Yes.
said, no, it's cancer, and it's thyroid cancer in the lymphatic system. So he went really quiet for a minute.
Wow.
And
That's
then-
brave to do. To tell.
Yeah, it sucked. And then
Yeah.
he said, okay, well, I've got vitamin C on Friday, so you're coming with me. Because remember
Wow.
when Dad got sick, they told him that he had a very short time to live. And we did a lot of research, him and Carol, and a little bit me, did a lot of research on
On all the different
alternative
things.
methods, naturopathic methods. And so at the time, he was doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and he was also doing high-dose vitamin C. We had changed the way we eat to everything is organic. Sugar feeds cancer directly, so we had cut out sugar.
No more sugar.
And dairy products have a protein in them called casein, which promotes the growth of cancer. So
you
we had
cut
cut
out
out
those
largely,
things.
cut out dairy. We're still eating a little bit. It was about 80% a plant-based organic
Yeah.
diet.
That's
So
good.
basically, Dad. Well, it's a good way to eat. So
Yeah.
so Dad basically said, okay, you're getting on my program. We were also doing green juices. We were doing a lot of stuff, right?
So right away, he was just
Right away.
on board with fixing
And
it.
he was like, oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's go. We know how to make it go away, so let's make it go, right?
Let's make
So
it go.
so we thought that we could cure me
Yeah.
naturopathically, holistically.
Yeah.
So I did. I made all these changes right away, and the thing is it was anyway. The CAT scan came back, and the cancer was from my thyroid all over my lymphatic system, primarily in my upper body and
Upper body.
lymphatic system because your
meaning
lymph nodes are
primarily.
everywhere, right? Yeah,
Oh, okay.
mostly
So it
on my
was in
left
other
side.
lymph areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and in both my lungs. So in my lungs, I had what they called innumerable nodules. So like mini tumors, too many to count. They're all over the lungs. But I had a big one in the upper left and a big one in the lower right.
Okay.
Um,
And did you notice Do you
Well, this
feel
is it. Like, over time, my health had declined.
Yeah.
So I was at a point where I was used to feeling like crap just
Yeah.
all the time. My cardio had gone to hell.
Yeah.
And
And you just, that became normal.
I just pushed through it. Like, I just,
Yeah.
right? What was fascinating, and which apparently makes my case very unique, it's very rare to find somebody with advanced thyroid cancer. Usually, you get thyroid cancer, your thyroid, which is close to the surface,
Yeah.
right? Gets a lump, you feel a lump, and they fix it.
Yeah,
right?
that's that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the standard treatment for thyroid cancer is
An operation.
cut it out.
Yeah.
And then give you radioactive iodine. Okay. So just to explain that, what happens with radioactive iodine is your thyroid is the only gland, the only thing in your entire body that uses iodine. Iodine is an element, like, they add it to salt. It's something. I think it's an electrolyte that you need. Okay. So the theory behind lacing the iodine with radiation is that if your thyroid is out, now anything in your body, nothing in your body will use iodine. It rejects iodine.
Yeah.
The only thing that would use it is your thyroid, and your thyroid has been cut out.
Yeah.
So if there are any little thyroid cancer cells that have traveled along, in my case, to your lymph nodes or your lungs or whatever, they will suck up the iodine because they're thyroid cells.
Thyroid cells.
So they suck up the iodine. Well, the iodine's been laced with radiation, so it'll kill them. That's the theory behind
that's
it.
the theory behind
Okay.
it.
It is actually, out of all the treatments, it's one of the not so bad ones. Like,
That's good.
I did a lot of research on it because I don't necessarily support a lot of the chemotherapy and a lot of the allopathic
Yeah.
reactions to cancer.
Yeah.
I think it's called the cancer industry for a reason.
Yeah.
It exists to make money, not to
Yeah.
cure people.
Yeah.
So, whole different conversation.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But it's part of, it's a lot of the journey is part of that, right? Because, anyway, so where was I? So
So
we started changing the way we ate.
changing the way you ate.
I jumped right on the bandwagon with
Yes.
Dad doing high dose vitamin C.
Yes.
But the CAT scan showed that it was already very late stage 3. So some doctors refer to me as stage 4. Some doctors refer to me as stage 3. Some doctors refer to me as terminal.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So at the time I had my GP, and they gave me an endocrinologist. I did not stay with the wonderful Dr. Blitz. I had an endocrinologist, I won't say her name, but my nickname for her was the Oncolobitch.
Yes.
Yes, she
my
was
gosh.
a nasty, nasty piece of work. She simply didn't care about people at all.
Was she rude? Like, was
Yeah,
she
she was
rude or
curt.
mean?
She was very old school. You hadn't updated her. I don't know what she reads or what she doesn't read, but her information was very out of date. She was only focused on allopathic, very, very in the box. Like, this is what we do with thyroid cancer: step A, step B, step C,
And that's it.
and that is it. She didn't want to talk about anything else. She didn't care.
It was just, yeah.
Yeah,
So
she just didn't care.
did that make you feel kind of dehumanized?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was horrible.
You felt like you weren't cared for.
Yeah,
With that.
at all.
Yeah, at all.
What was interesting is my blood work all came back normal. So with your thyroid,
Wow.
your thyroid basically governs your hormones, your metabolism, your emotions. Like, it's for a tiny little gland.
Yeah.
It does a lot of shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Good job.
like a lot. So, what they do is they do a blood test, and they measure your TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone.
Yes, I learned about that
So,
in bio.
this is basically saying your thyroid tells your brain, this is how much thyroid hormone we need.
Yeah.
Your pituitary gland interprets it. Your thyroid creates it.
Okay.
Okay. and that keeps your metabolism running. So if you do a marathon, your thyroid is going to say, okay, we need a little bit more TSH because we're really working.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting in front of the boob tube and eating 2 bags of chips, your thyroid is going to say, okay, well, we need a little bit less because we're just hanging
it's
out.
a manager. It's a manager. It's a boss.
So because normally, when your thyroid is covered in cancer, it's not focusing, it's not working, it's not functioning properly.
Yeah.
And so your TSH is low or high.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's either too much or too low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's too high, it's called hyperthyroidism.
Yes.
The chances are you're skinny.
Yes.
And if it's too low, then it's called hypothyroidism.
Right.
And chances are you're gaining weight.
Right. Because it makes everything slower.
Exactly.
When
It
it's
produces less of
hypothyroidism.
the,
It's
right.
producing less, so things are less up to speed.
Which is often what happens when you have a tumor. Well, my numbers were normal. Everything showed absolutely perfectly normal.
That doesn't make
On
sense.
paper, everything, my vitamins, my thyroid, absolutely everything on paper, I looked 100% healthy.
Oh my
Except I had a bit of high
gosh.
blood pressure and I was overweight. Those were the only 2 things.
What?
So my oncologist kind of argued with me about, and I was like, well, you're the one doing the blood test, right? She goes, well,
Yeah.
this can't be. So we did the blood test
So
again.
it's like confusing. It was
Yeah.
like didn't make sense.
Did
Didn't
the
add
blood
up.
test a few times, and it kept coming back normal.
Weird.
By now, I have tumors all over the left side of my neck, right? Really went on the diet really aggressively, and the tumors did shrink. I measured
Wow.
them, and over a 6-month period, they shrunk significantly.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But what happens is, the disease had already been in my body for years, many years more than we know. Thyroid is one of the slowest growing cancers.
Oh.
So
okay.
for it to already be late stage 3, let's just
Yeah.
call it stage 4.
Yeah.
It had been there for years.
Yeah.
And cancer, whether it's a slow growing one or whatever, is aggressive.
Yeah.
So you can't sit on your laurels, right?
Yeah.
You know, I had one too many people tell me, oh, well, if you're going to have cancer, then thyroid cancer is the one you want. Because
Yeah.
everybody knows that it's a slow growing
it's
one.
slow, it's on operation.
And
it's
everybody, it's so rare that
Yeah,
it's, right, that
that it
everybody
moves.
finds it stage 1. And so many people know, oh, I had a friend that had thyroid cancer, she's
my
fine now,
teacher,
right?
my bio teacher.
So, I'm so sick of hearing that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like, it's not always, that's not it, that's not,
Well, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's, you're not lucky if you have any kind of cancer,
No, it's-
and
sucks either way. Yeah.
it sucks either way. And anyway, so
Yeah.
I got a lot of that. Oh, you'll be fine. Oh, they'll just operating. You'll be fine.
Oh, it
Oh.
would drive me nuts a little bit after a while.
So anyway, I did go in for the operation eventually.
Yes.
They
Were you
removed-
reluctant to?
At first I was, but
Really?
then I realized I needed to.
Yeah. Was it your first major operation?
Yes, yeah, I've always been healthy
I've
as a
never had one.
horse. Yeah, well, hopefully you won't. So tell me if I'm going into too much detail. Like I don't
No,
know.
oh my gosh, this is fine.
Okay,
This is fine.
so the operation was supposed to be 7 to 8 hours, and they were going to remove the tumors in the left side of the neck. It was called a radical neck dissection.
Oh wow.
Scary.
Well, that's a nice fun title for
What are you
you
doing
there.
today? I'm going in for a
Radical neck dissection,
dissection.
the usual.
Yeah, not just a neck dissection, a
Radical
radical
neck.
one. So,
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Some of the fun names, Dr. Blitz,
Yeah,
Radical.
yeah.
I love it.
Now, my surgeon, who the first 3 or 4 times I met him, I thought was the biggest asshole on the planet.
Oh my.
He has an ego the size of Gibraltar, okay? And he
I
deserves
love it.
He deserves
He
it.
deserves
The
it.
guy is... Well, he saved my life.
Oh my god.
But not just that, he did... Anyway, so he's magic. He's amazing. He's a godsend.
A godsend.
Okay? Yeah.
He's talented.
Yeah, so anyway.
You got
so
the best surgeon ever.
He's just amazing.
Oh, thank God.
Thank
That's
God.
awesome.
Because things could have come out so different.
Yeah.
So
It
different,
could have
Sarah.
been,
Like,
yeah.
So, okay, so I went in, it was supposed to be about 8 hours. It ended up
Yes.
being over 13.
Okay.
He's been doing these surgeries for like 15, 20 years.
Yes.
He said that he opened me up from ear to ear,
Oh my god.
and almost closed me back up again and said, sorry, it's too far gone. He was this
Wow.
close. Now, he is the second in command in his department. I forget the name of the department, but he had one boss ahead of him, an Italian guy with these huge bushy eyebrows.
Oh my gosh.
Huge. Okay? But apparently
I
there
love
were
it.
over 20 people in the room, a lot of them students, because I was such a rare case.
A rare case.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So he couldn't really, from an ego perspective, close me up. Right?
No way.
So he had to go carry
You
on.
had to be the hero. Yeah.
So they removed
Wow.
9 tumors.
Wow.
The biggest one was under my
the golf
clavicle.
ball.
Yeah, no, there was a golf ball. But then there was another one that kind of went under my, your
Your
clavicle.
clavicle, yeah, it's attached
It
to
went
the
down, and it was affecting my. You know how you have a lymphatic drain there.
Okay.
I forget the name of it. Anyway, so it was impacting that.
Yeah.
And that one, I think he said, was 8 centimeters long. So
Wow.
it was a big mama.
It was a big guy right there.
Yeah. But what's interesting is the cancer had wrapped itself. Obviously, my thyroid was more tumor than.
Yeah.
How it was behaving normally, according to the blood tests,
That's insane.
has everybody baffled. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a theory on that. But it also. So you have your thyroid, which is like a butterfly.
Yes.
And then you have 4 parathyroids.
Parathyroids that are on.
Yes.
And they have other functions.
Yes.
Yes.
And they govern magnesium, calcium, all
Yes.
kinds
Calcium.
of stuff.
Yes.
So if your parathyroid is not working, basically like your life is hell. You're in the hospital twice a week for dialysis for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like that is something you do not want.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was the cancer had covered everything. So
just wrapped around.
out of my 4 parathyroid, he took one out and threw it out. Like, it was just
Oh my
gone.
gosh.
Oh yeah.
It was just done. It
One
was destroyed.
yeah. It was more tumor than para. Like, it wasn't.
Wow.
One was perfectly fine. The other 2 he took out, scraped them clean of the cancer,
Oh my god.
and put them back in.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Now, he actually did that with my voice box as well. He took my voice box
Out of you.
scraped it clean. Can you imagine the scrape, and put it back in, and I still sound like me. Like,
Completely.
I could have come out there with no voice. I
Or
could have come out there exactly.
Like a crinkly. Yeah.
I could have come out there. Only God knows. So what he did.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, it
That's
is mind blowing.
mind-blowing.
It is mind blowing.
Holy
It
shit.
literally is mind blowing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't realize.
How do you take it and reattach it so that you can still talk?
Oh well, they
I'll
severed
never.
one of my jugulars. I mean, it was a big,
Operation.
very, very serious operation.
That's brave.
That
Holy
they
crap.
underestimated, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it ended up being 13 hours long. Like, they had to take breaks. They were going on shifts. They were like,
Yeah.
they had to add more anesthesia.
Wow.
It was crazy, crazy, crazy shit. Crazy. When I think about it, it was just crazy.
that happened to you.
Yeah. So.
And you didn't have any.
Oh no.
You were
totally
out.
out.
It's
Yeah.
you
I
go
was
to
out for,
sleep
like-
and you wake up and you've
Yeah.
been cut. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I woke up, there was about a day there where I'm groggy and weird, and I'm hooked up to a million different things.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
And in and out. I'm in and out, right? So, but by the time I was alert and awake, it took a couple days.
Yeah.
And then I remember sitting there,
Yeah.
lying there, and whenever the surgeon came to see me, there were always like 6 of them, because again, they were all in the back rooms talking about my case.
Yeah.
Right? So my surgeon came in, and behind him was his boss with the big bushy eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh my god.
the Italian dude. And there were 3 or 4 other doctors. I don't know who the hell they were. I know that my endocrinologist, my oncologist, never came to see me.
Oh my
She never
gosh.
bothered. Yeah.
She's
So,
awful. She sounds
yeah, I
awful.
ended up firing her.
Yay.
Yeah. This is something I learned. You can fire them.
Yeah.
They don't have to look after you,
No.
right?
Yeah.
But that's something you have to empower yourself to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I learned
That's
that
really good. That's,
yeah,
that's a good thing.
the system is
Good for
not
you.
built to look after your health. The system is built to address a symptom.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate,
Wow.
and rarely you come across somebody that gets it, and that's cool. But you really have to grab it.
Yeah.
And when it's something this serious and this big, I do feel like whenever I go to the hospital, I'm encountering Goliath, and I have to figure out how not to
Yeah.
get stomped on every
Yeah.
time I go in. Every doctor,
Yeah,
everything.
every time.
Yeah, that's
Because
how I
they-
feel.
They take
I'm
advantage.
I'm a number. I'm a rare case that they want to study. I've been asked to be on trials. I don't want to try any drugs.
Yeah.
They sent me information on stuff where there was this trial drug that it might shrink the tumors in my lungs, but I might never be able to walk again.
Good
And I
grief.
might and it's just like, you know what?
No.
No.
Bye.
Yeah. So and then when I try to talk to them about the diet I'm doing and the vitamin C, and they don't even, kind of stuff.
It's a brush off. It's
like,
we just want to do it this way, our way.
Yeah, and
Fill the trade.
it's endlessly frustrating because really I'm not supposed to be alive, right? I should have died a couple years ago. And they're all calling me terminal. Nobody ever wanted to say you have X number of years, because it's slow growing and right. But nobody thought I'd last more than 2 or 3 years. So all of my lungs, right?
Yeah.
But I firmly believe that the stuff I'm doing is making a difference. And a lot of it is the belief, but also, so what I'm doing is the changes in diet, but I also get 140 grams of vitamin C intravenously into my veins every week. Which costs about $1,500 a month, and it's not covered by anything, and it's murdering me financially. But it's also... But what happens when I don't do it, and there have been times where I skip a week or two for whatever reason, and when I skip a week or two...
You feel it.
I instantly have a flu, I can't get out of bed, I'm coughing, I'm exhausted. I can feel, my immune system just shuts down. I'm not strong enough to fight the cancer
without this vitamin
without
C.
this support. So I'm, again, there's a lot of literature that shows that vitamin C does actually kill cancer. But aside from all that argument, the fact that what I'm doing supports my immune system enough for me to have a quality of life, and for the cancer growth to be even more slowed down, that's the best I can hope for. So what happens is, after the surgery, I was lying there, and the fleet walks in.
This little
and,
chunk of people.
Yeah, and my surgeon says, Miss Cambray. And I said, hello, doctor. And the Italian guy behind him went, "Che bella," with a voice.
Oh my god.
And so he got really, really excited because they didn't know until I spoke. They had scraped my voice, right? Right?
They must have had to do that so carefully.
I can't imagine.
Oh my gosh.
So they were really, really happy with how I sounded and how I looked. And then they had me hooked up to extra stuff because of the parathyroid, because they didn't know whether or not the parathyroid was going to work. And if not, then I could have been on dialysis for the rest of my life, every week in the hospital, every week.
Oh my god.
Just hell if that didn't work.
That's a difficult way.
But it worked, and I do think part of it is, yes, the surgeon is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is that all my life I've always been really healthy and strong, and right?
And that stuff paid off.
And for a good 2 years, I was diagnosed, it was about 2 years before I let them operate on me, right? All of that healthy eating and the green juices and the right? The
Yeah.
meditation, and I was doing yoga, and I was
Yeah.
all of that
Those
stuff
methods.
helps your body fight, right?
Yeah.
Also, we had
It's stuff that's good for you.
yeah, we had a real plan after my operation that I was not going to eat. Like the St. Joe's outsources their food. So basically, the hospital pays Joe's company
Yeah.
X dollars per plate of food that he serves.
Oh, okay.
So let's say that he gets $10 per plate of food that he serves. He wants to serve as many as he can. If he can give you two, he'll give you two because he's getting $20, not 10. And because he's getting $10 for what he serves you, he's gonna put the cheapest shit on that plate, so that out of that
Oh
$10
my
he makes the
God.
most profit, right?
Oh, okay.
So the food at St. Joe's was, I don't think it qualifies as food. I think it was actually shit. Like it was actually garbage. Like it.
Oh my gosh.
So we had a plan that I would not. That doesn't help you get better.
Yeah.
So
That's
Carol.
awful. That's not what they should
Exactly.
serve in a hospital.
So Carol and Mum were bringing me food and green juice and soup every day.
Good. Oh, that's nice.
And the doctors were actually commenting on how surprised they were at how fast I recovered.
Wow.
They expected me in the hospital for 6 weeks. I got out in about 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's, you basically cut the time in half.
Yeah, basically, almost. It was a little bit more.
Wow.
I'll give you an example. Mum, I was sitting there, and Mum was with me, and the food lady came in, and I'm like, it's been 2 weeks, I'm not eating that crap, stop giving me. But she can't, every day, she had to try, right?
Yeah.
So she came in, she goes, we have soup today, and I was like, no thanks. And my mom was like, oh, if it's just a broth, I'll have it, like, I'm
Yeah.
sitting here, right?
Yeah.
So the lady's like, oh, I can get rid of this tray, which
yeah.
is what, so she gives her it was chicken soup, chicken broth. And she goes, oh, hold on, honey. And she goes, this black lady, she was very sweet.
Oh.
She ran out and she came back with 2 packets of sugar, not salt. Sugar. And Mom was sitting there with her bowl of soup, and she's like, I don't think I need sugar.
Yeah.
And the lady says, yeah, you might, it's so salty that a lot of people like to put sugar in it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Mom was like,
Oh my gosh. Ew.
so they're serving this to somebody with high blood pressure. They're giving me sodium. Do you know how bad that is?
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it's
I don't get it.
it's asking
it's
for
so
it's asking for a
contradicting
stroke,
to-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
That's
just,
so
but
stupid.
they just don't. It's about money. It's not about my health. I just had a 13-hour life-threatening operation,
they
and it's
give you
about
a
money,
bowl-
not about my health. Oh yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, I'll give you another.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. I had 2 tubes. You know how I have these 2 little scars?
Yeah.
And 2 tubes. Just like when you get a bruise, you get inflammation, right?
Yeah.
Inflammation is liquid. And 2 tubes draining the liquid out because they were in there for so long.
Yeah.
That's why I looked like Frankenstein, remember? It was brutal. So I had 2 tubes draining. And they went into these 2 little tubbies, and that was attached to me for at least a week.
Okay.
So they were draining. Well, they were supposed to have stopped draining. And it was very confusing why they were, like, there was more, they were confused with the level of inflammation.
Yeah.
Anyway, at a certain point in time, they took the tubes out. So they took the tube out, and then they stick a pad on, they tape it down.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's still draining. Okay.
It's
So
still, yeah,
it's-
there's
so
still stuff.
crap is
coming
still oozing out of me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the nurses, bless their hearts, a more miserable group of people I've never met in my life.
out.
I'm sure 10 years ago they started off happy, but
Now it's just.
they're miserable. They're overworked. They're on their feet all day. They're just, I can imagine they must be exhausted.
Yeah.
And they work shifts that are 12 hours long, which I don't know what idiot came up with that
It's
idea.
insane.
And really what they're doing is cleaning up the puke and diarrhea.
Yeah.
It's really, like, it's just, you have to be an angel to do that job, and even then they abuse you.
Oh my
So,
god.
but,
Oh
but
my God.
they're miserable, and they don't, so what happens is, I have an open thing with a pad on it, right?
Yeah.
They have to change it. Now remember, I'm groggy. I just came out of surgery,
Yeah.
right? Well, because it kept soaking through, they had to change it frequently.
Yeah,
Or else
because it would soak up and be
get
wet.
infected.
Yeah, and they can't leave it there.
Well,
'cause
yeah,
then
it'll
it
get
will infect your
infected.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it'll get infected in there.
in there too.
And that
Okay,
could complicate it. Like, that's serious,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they don't want to be changing this pad that frequently. So what they would do
Oh God.
is this one lady got a stack of pads and put it on. Now I already, because they've been ripping the pad off,
Yeah.
putting it on, ripping it off, putting it on, ripping it off, putting it. I've got tape rash all over.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Now this lady, they got sick of it, and they just got 5 or 6 pads and taped it down.
But that's not good because you'll get infected.
So the pad closest to my skin is the one that's going to get wet first. The one out here is going to be dry, so they're not going to change it. But this one's wet and getting dirty.
Yeah.
That is the way to get infection, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm
You're
I
groggy,
I still
you're
can't get out of
tired.
bed,
Yeah,
like that, right?
You can't do anything.
I can't. Yeah, I'm literally bedridden, and
Yeah.
I'm hooked up to like.
Yeah.
So, at a certain point in time, like I kept buzzing them to change it because it was wet and sopping, and I was. Yeah. So I had started to get up. I was able to get up, and Mum was with me, and they came, and I'm like, I think this needs to be changed, and the lady didn't want to change it, and Mum's like, please change it. So she took it off. Well, it was all red. It was starting to get
Oh
infected.
my gosh. Thank God Nona.
So Mum was
there.
like, that's getting infected. And the nurse is like, no, it's just, and my mom's like, it's getting infected? I can see it.
Yeah.
So the nurse is like, well, we'll leave it, we'll let the doctor see it. And the doctor might pop in once every 2 or 3 days, right?
Oh my gosh.
So my mom said, why don't you just put some Polysporin on it? Because Polysporin is an antibiotic,
Yeah.
right? And the nurse said, I can't. And my mom's like, what are you talking about?
Because
You
it's
can't.
an antibiotic.
Well, the nurse said, well, unless the doctor prescribes it,
Yeah.
I can't do it. But Polysporin, you can go buy it right now.
Yeah.
Anybody can go buy
Yeah,
it.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom's like, you don't need a doctor's prescription. And the nurse said, I can't do it unless the doctor says so.
They had no power.
I did not realize, it kind of makes sense to me why they're all so miserable.
Yeah.
Because if I know that putting Polysporin on somebody's wound is going to help them, but I can't do it just because the
Big man
I'm going
says
to be frustrated.
yes or no. Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be frustrated.
Anyways.
Anyways.
You want to help, but you don't have the power
But you
to.
can't, but within reason, come on,
Yeah.
right? Mum went downstairs and bought Polysporin. And for the next week and a half, I was getting out of bed, standing in the mirror, taking it off, cleaning it, putting
Oh
the
my
Polysporin on,
gosh.
putting it back on, and taping it back up again.
Oh my gosh.
Because
by
I was trying to avoid worse tape rash. I was the only way for me to properly care for that wound was to do it myself.
Good grief.
That's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
That is all kinds of fucked up.
That's
The
insane.
other thing is I had my veins in my arms are deep. They're hard to find.
Yeah.
So after the surgery, they can only leave that thing in a vein for a certain number of days. So they had to take it out. So then they put it in here. Okay, because these veins are easy to find. But still have scars. So they had the vein in here, the thing in here, and my electrolytes had already been fine. I had taken off that. I was only on, I think, no, I wasn't on anything.
Oh.
I wasn't on anything anymore. This was
Yay.
near the end. And the thing was in there and they had it taped down, but it wasn't attached to anything. But it's a big needle, right? The part that's in your vein. Like, it's like this long, right? And it's
Yikes.
plastic and it moves with your vein.
Yeah.
But it was taped down. But what happened was I hadn't been plugged up to anything in so long. The tape, you know how tape after a while
It loses the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they kept sticking more tape on it, sticking more tape on it. So I've got a wad of tape like this.
Yeah.
They're taping it around my hand. But when you're sleeping, you're rolling over, you're right.
You're moving.
So it was 2 days. I was like, just take it out. Just take it out.
Yeah.
Like, we're not using it. Just take it out. No, your veins are hard. What if we need to use it in an emergency? I'm like, you can just go in the other hand. Like, you can,
Yeah.
in an emergency, you'll figure it out, right? No, I was like, anyways, 2 days. They kept just changing the tape. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So in the middle of the night, It was the middle of the night. I rolled over and I got caught on bed, and it almost ripped out. Like it would have ripped me like this.
Oh my
Okay, and it
gosh.
hurt like a biatch. And I woke
Oh
myself
my
up.
gosh.
Right, obviously. I was like, ah, right.
Oh my gosh.
So I got up. I went walking down the hall.
With a string attached
And
to
the
you.
nurse, oh no, I didn't. Just tape and the thing.
Just the thing.
Just the needle and the tape. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't on anything already.
Yeah.
I was recovering.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi, how's it coming?
jammy head.
Good.
I'm gonna get in the shower soon.
Okay.
Okay, how's it? Oh, are you taping?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Thanks.
How much more time?
An hour.
Oh, you need another hour.
Maybe.
Am I talking too much?
To homecoming?
Yep.
It's noon.
I'm gonna make it. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's okay. No, everything's good.
Okay.
This is great. No, I don't want to stop.
Okay.
Like, I love it. I would tell you.
Okay, so I go down the hallway and I get in trouble. A nurse yelled at me
Because you were in the hallway.
because I was not in my room at night.
You're not a 5-year-old at nap time at daycare.
Like, is this a prison that I'm
Oh
in?
my god! That would scare me.
I was like,
You shouldn't be yelled at. You should
So-
be asked to go
So I
back.
said, I really need this out of my hand. And she wouldn't even listen to me. Go back to your room. Go back to your room. Go back to your room.
No
So
way.
I went back to my room,
Oh
turned the
my
light on.
God.
shut the door, sat down on the bed, and took it out myself.
Oh my
Which I could have got
gosh.
infected. I mean, I got all the
Yeah.
stuff I needed to do. I stuck a Band-Aid on it.
That's
But
so
I thought,
frustrating.
so I basically
Took care of
nursing
yourself.
myself,
You nursed
right? Like
yourself.
I'm changing my own wound.
And putting
I'm
on
putting-
polysporin,
I'm taking the needle
disinfecting.
because they wouldn't,
They
just
do
wouldn't.
it.
They just, they
Why
wouldn't.
wouldn't they? Because they didn't have the power. They didn't.
They're frustrated.
Yeah.
And they don't know if I'm going to come down the hallway and give them shit about something, you know what I mean? Make their
Yeah.
lives hard, make them tired. And, you know what, if I was cleaning up diarrhea and vomit all day, I'd be pretty fucking cranky too, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, the doctors don't treat them very nicely. They have
Nicely.
12-hour shifts. Their
They're
feet
like the
must
bottom
hurt.
of the food chain. Yeah.
It was very
The
sad.
bottom of the hierarchy.
It was very sad to see people that miserable.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, they have a very, very important role. And
It would. Oh, hospitals wouldn't be run without them.
but an important role for my, like, there were one or two out of the maybe 8 of the shifts that there were one or two that were cool, that were nice, that saw through all the crap, and and they were angels.
Yeah.
They made a difference, right?
They impacted you.
But it's anyways. So finally, I was able to leave. And I was at home with Mum for a while. She looked after me, and that was great.
Yeah.
And then following the surgery, they do the radioactive iodine. So they have to get the thyroid out first, so that all the radiation doesn't go there, right? So a little while later, my uncle bitch and I were talking about the radioactive iodine. Now here's a funny
I
thing.
love it.
So she is telling me now, I've done my research, right?
Yes, exactly.
So she's like, radioactive iodine does not have any side effects. And I'm like, really? Yeah, like, I'm putting radiation in my body and there's nothing,
Yeah.
it's not affecting anything? Like, I
Seriously?
don't believe that.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, your saliva gland
Salivary gland.
Yeah, your salivary gland. might get blocked. And I'm like,
Oh God.
okay, that's pretty
Yeah,
okay.
that's not good.
So then what happens? Like blocked forever? Like permanently? Or
Yeah.
Because no, it very rarely lasts more than 6 months.
Oh my gosh. Still.
Like, so that's dry mouth. That's like, so what do you
That's
do?
dry. Yeah,
But
you
that-
need your salivary gland. It
Exactly.
secretes all
But
the
then,
juices.
but why is your salivary gland getting blocked? So I'm like, well, why
Yeah.
would that, like, I don't
Happen.
understand the side effect. And so she doesn't even want to go there with me, right? She's like, oh, well, if we're going to have I'm not here to teach you about,
Really?
Oh, yeah. So,
Oh my
so I was
gosh.
like, okay.
That's just mean.
And then she wanted to give me, I can't remember the dose I had her written down, but she wanted to give me a crazy high dose.
Right.
And I absolutely refused. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to go that high.
Yeah.
In everything I have read higher does not mean better response.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's about what it is.
Well, you do need a certain amount. Like, if
Yeah.
I have a huge amount of cancer, then there needs to be more for, right?
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, she was going off the charts. Like, she was really, really high. So, we agreed on a number. Let's say it was 0.7. Let's just say. I can't remember what it was, but whatever. Let's say it's 0.7. And we booked a date and everything.
Yeah.
She told me to bring hard candy.
Oh.
And I'm like, candy? And she's like, yeah. I was like, you know that I'm off sugar.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you off sugar? Well, because I have cancer, and sugar feeds cancer.
Yeah.
Directly, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh. She goes, well, you need something to suck on, because after you get the radioactive iodine, if you suck on something, it helps your salivary glands
To
stay working.
Stay stimulated, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. What I did with my naturopath, again, is I followed a very specific diet beforehand, and then I came armed. So when you do radioactive iodine, you turn into a glowing green blob. I'll tell you the story. But literally, you are radioactive. So you can't be in public. You'll kill people. You'll radiate them.
Yeah.
You're like a microwave. You're like a walking microwave. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's scary. So what I did was I wanted that crap out of my body as soon as possible,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's going to either get absorbed or not, and then you need to flush it out.
Yeah.
So I went with special vitamin C drinks, and I went with some I brought my own food, my own organic high fiber food.
Oh, good.
Right?
Okay.
Because I wasn't going to eat their crap.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So, and a lot of water.
Yeah, water would help.
So that day I get there with all my stuff. They literally laugh at me because I've got food.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
well, whatever.
I'm doing my thing.
Yeah, so exactly. So I go in there and I walk into the room that I'm going to be in for the next 4 days. And it's covered in brown paper. You know the brown paper you draw on?
Yeah.
Yeah, covered
Oh my
in brown
gosh.
paper. The floor is covered in 2 layers of brown paper. Everything is covered in brown paper.
What the heck?
Because radiation's going to be
You're
coming in. I'm going to be
radioactive.
oozing radiation.
Oh my
And when I
gosh.
leave, they come in, they rip up all the black paper, and it becomes radioactive waste.
Wow.
Right?
Oh
So
my
I'm not allowed
gosh.
to leave the room, right? So for 4 days. So I go
Oh
in,
my gosh.
put all my food by the window. It was February, so it was like a fridge.
I
And
love it.
and the guy, the guy comes in, you're going to get this much radiation. So she had taken it up. We had agreed on 0.7, let's say.
Yeah.
She had taken it up to like 0.9. So like, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
So I said no. And they tracked her down and she came in. And I was like, you and I had the discussion and we agreed that 0.7 would be enough.
Yeah.
She goes, well, I was looking at the case again and it has to be 0.9. It has to be... I almost said no and left.
Yeah.
Now, I was waiting for that room for 3 months. Because they cycle... It's like a factory.
People, yeah.
It's like a factory. And that is the radioactive room.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So...
wow. What a
It's a money making machine. It's a machine that's just churning out millions of dollars.
oh my god.
Churning it out. So anyway, leaving would have been a big deal. But I decided to suck it up
Good for you.
and take the 0.9.
God.
Anyway, so
Did
again,
you yell at her?
no. But that's when I was like, okay, this is
This
as
is
soon
not
as
working.
yeah. So here I am in this room, and this
Oh my
guy walks in,
gosh.
and he's covered in a plastic suit, and he's wheeling a thing, whatever, trolley, and on the trolley is like a bowl, and it's made out of lead about 1.5 inches thick,
Oh my gosh.
and it's got a big lid. Takes off the lid, shuts the door, takes off the lid, tells me to stand in the opposite end of the room. Then inside that, there's another, like, bowl, but it's longer.
yeah.
It's about 1 inch of lead. And inside there's a test tube.
Oh my gosh.
So he says, before he takes the lid off this, he says, I'm going to take the lid off this. He's got gloves, the whole bit, right? He's like in a hazmat suit.
Oh
okay?
my gosh.
He says, I'm going to take the lid off this. You're going to come in. There's a straw sticking out of the test tube. said, you're going to drink from the straw.
Oh my
As you drink from the straw, so the radioactive iodine is in the test tube, right? As you drink from the straw, I'm going to be pouring water in the test tube so that you get it all. So you keep sucking, right? So that when I say you're done, get to the opposite end of the room. Basically, he's saying get as far away from me as you can.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
And you're drinking this stuff.
Okay, so
That
I'm
sounds
like,
insane.
yes, it tasted really metallic-y. It was gross.
It
We get
tasted
that
bad.
done. I'm at the other end of the room, and he closes everything off, and then he gets a Geiger-meter. You know what a Geiger-meter is?
I think so.
So it's this machine that you see on sci-fi movies. They go like this, they hold down a button, and it measures how radioactive you are. So he had to come within 8 feet of me, measure how radioactive I am. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, wow, you're high. You had a big dose. And I'm like, yeah, I'm stage 4. And he's like, okay, well, the way this works is you have to stay in this room, do not leave this room. You can open the windows. Anything you touch goes in that garbage bag. And then if he will come back in 2 days and measure me, if I'm under threshold A, then I can go home, but I have to stay in my apartment for 3 weeks. I cannot come across any babies, any elderly people, I'm still using radiation. So will people bring me food? And then after that, I have to throw out all my sheets, cover the sofa in sheets, throw everything out, right? Have it sterilized, basically.
That's insane.
That's if I'm under threshold A. If I'm under threshold B, which is lower, then I have to do that for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And he's like, believe me, at the number you're at, you're not going to be here for 4 days. You're probably going to be here for 6.
Oh,
There's
man.
no way you're going to go home under threshold B. You're going to be under threshold A. So, right? So, okay. So, he leaves the room.
Oh, God.
And now I'm feeling the radiation burning me inside, right?
How does it feel?
Well, it's eating the rest of the cancer and the tumors, and you feel it. It's burning you from the inside.
So it's painful.
Oh yeah.
How did you cope with it?
Well,
You just
it wasn't screaming pain. It was pain, but not like crazy screaming pain.
Well, that's brave to do.
Yeah, it's not fun. So what do? I drink my special vitamin C thing that my naturopath gave me. I down it, and I down an entire bottle of water.
Yeah.
And I go on a mission, okay, to purge. Okay? So I'm drinking water like a machine.
Oh my
I'm in the
gosh.
bathroom non-stop.
No way.
I'm in the shower.
Doesn't the radiation make you like...
Well, it makes it, it's hard on your body. It makes you, I slept a lot, but, I'm in a room alone for 4 days.
Oh my gosh.
And again, my naturopath, I brought in 3 different loofahs.
Oh my gosh.
So the first time you use one, and then you throw it out because it's got a lot of radiation. Then you use another one, and right? So I had a whole plan.
Good for you. You kick ass.
I went in with such a plan. Anyways, so 3 days later, he comes, and he was going to measure me and leave. He thought I was going to be there for another 3 days. I was way under threshold. He couldn't believe it. He was like, "What did you do?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I basically I've been peeing and pooing like a machine.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That's incredible.
Yeah, I
you
got
did
out.
that.
I got out. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, you gotta take your health in your own hands, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of why I'm still here. Right?
It is.
Because I'm kind of not supposed to be in a way, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's good. I went home. I was still stuck in my apartment for 2 weeks, whatever. But then when they did the CAT scan, the tumors, the cancer in my lung, there was no cancer anywhere else. Got it all.
That's
but
amazing.
The cancer in my lungs did not change.
Oh. Okay.
So I was already a rare case, and now I'm like a crazy rare case because it's only like in 1% of people that they call basically the cancer in my lungs is faking it as lung cancer, not thyroid cancer in your lungs.
Oh my god.
So they say it's called non-differentiated thyroid cancer.
Jeez, yeah.
Extremely rare. So at this point in time, my oncologist had no idea what to do with me. because
She
I'm
didn't
rare.
get it, yeah.
She's doesn't know how to engage her brain. She took my case up to some committee, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I ended up at Princess Margaret Hospital, PMH,
Wow.
with a specialist that deals with these cases.
Okay.
My oncologist still wanted to see me every 6 months, and that's when I sat down with her and said, I don't think I need to see you anymore.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, you can go away.
What did she do when you said that?
Well,
to
she
her?
argued with me.
She argued with you.
Yeah, I was like, in between, I've seen 100 doctors. Like, they sent me to, I wanted to see a lung specialist. I went into the lung specialist, and he was like, why are we here? So I told him about the cancer, and he was like, well, I can't help you. And I'm like, well, shouldn't you test my ability to do oxygen? And I'm like, isn't there? And he was like, well, I'm not sure if. And I was like, well, shouldn't we just check? Like,
Yeah.
you know, my doctor thought it was a good idea for me to come see you, and what did he say? Something really rude to me.
Oh. What?
He said something like,
Seriously?
he said something about paranoia or something.
Oh my.
Meanwhile, like, it's all in my lungs, I can't breathe, right? So I got up. I
who
just,
wouldn't be?
yeah, and he was getting ready to, he wanted to do all these, no, he wanted to do all these, he wanted to do all these tests. Yeah, he was, anyways,
Yeah.
I got up and I'm like,
No.
I don't have time
See you later.
for this.
Yeah.
And he was like, pardon me, and I was like, I don't like your attitude. And
Good.
yeah,
Good
I said,
for
I don't
you.
have time for this. And I left. He
What did
actually
he
came,
do?
he actually stood in the hallway yelling at me, come back here, I'm not done with you. I'm like, I'm not in grade 8 here.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I just walked away.
Why do they think that they can
Yeah,
yell
but
at
he
someone
called
like
me,
that?
He called me,
Paranoid?
no, I think I mentioned the vitamin C. He called me ridiculous or something. And I was like, wow, like, I'm not telling you you
I'm
have to
not
be an
taking
naturopath.
that from
You
someone.
can be in your
Yeah.
allopathic little thing, fine, but
Don't call me ridiculous.
Oh, that's the other thing. When they took out the tumors in the surgery, the surgeon came back to me and he said, what have you been doing?
Wow.
And I was like, so I told him, I said, I've been doing a lot of naturopathic stuff. And he goes, I've never, because they autopsy, they dissect them, right?
Yeah.
Take the tumors out of you, they rip them apart to
See what's going on, yeah.
My tumors, all of them, were dead on the inside. The vitamin C was working.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was working.
Wow.
And he said to me, I've never seen that. They were dying. The tumors were dying.
Wow.
So
It was working.
It was
The
working. The only
naturopathy was
thing
working.
is, it was working too slowly. That thing, it takes time, and I didn't have time.
Yeah.
So I don't have any regrets doing the surgery,
Yeah.
doing the
That's
radioactive
good.
iodine. I think I did the right thing for me.
Yeah.
But I don't care about what the studies say and what the doctors read, and
Yeah.
the stuff I'm doing is helping me, and I know it. So,
I'm
right.
glad.
Like, anyway, so I did the radioactive iodine, I met the PMH chick, and right now we're in the last 2 years have been steady. Well, not steady, but basically it's watch and wait.
Yeah.
Every
It's stable,
year
pretty
I
much.
go for a CAT scan.
Yeah.
The last one I had said that it grew, the two in my lungs grew about 20%.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I just keep doing what I'm doing.
We just keep trucking along. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. You have a big story. You've done a lot.
I've done.
You've been through a crap load of
I've
stuff.
been, and that's just the surface, believe me.
That's just the surface.
There's a lot
There's
more.
so much more. Can I
But
ask you?
Those are the big ones.
Wow.
That's
That
the
was
editing.
very. Yeah, I have more. You covered like so much which is incredible. Can I ask you, what are the symptoms that most bother you throughout it? Is there something that comes to mind?
Yes.
And because you've covered everything, you can, if you want with these questions, you don't have to answer them, or you can answer them in like a jot point.
Well, this is kind of complicated because
Yeah.
the one thing that happened to me as a kid is I dislocated my knees several times. Okay, so when I was in grade like 10, I had a a rheumatologist look at me and say, "Oh yeah, you are destined to have arthritis in your knees." What happens is cancer is one of the things of cancer is chronic inflammation, right? And I would say that is the thing that bothers me most. My sinuses are always stuffed, and you know, I'm always inflamed. I'm puffy. It's right that and the not being able to lose weight. Nothing I do will drop the weight. It is
Nothing you
beyond
do.
frustrating. It is beyond frustrating.
So it's those little things that are constantly
Because
jabbing
every
at you.
minute of every day, I am inflamed. I am fighting inflammation, and I am fighting my weight. But what happens is because my knees were so bad, I think had I lived a normal, healthy life at a normal, healthy weight, I wouldn't. I would have ended up with arthritis in my knees. Yeah, I mean, I dislocated my knees. 7 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh, 7 times.
The left one 4, the right one 3. But I might have got it. I might have got that arthritis when I was 60. But because of the state of my body, because my immune system is down, I'm constantly inflamed. Right, like I got arthritis last year.
Yeah.
And the inflammation on my knees. Now, it's interesting that the cancer, in a way, has directly impacted my quality of life less than the arthritis. I can live with the cancer. I try to, I get in the pool, I do stuff,
does it cause you pain? Like, do you feel the
Oh,
pain
yeah.
of having cancer?
I'm short of breath. But and I do have pain, yeah.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And across my lungs,
Yeah.
but the highest pain is my knees.
It's
the arthritis that's causing the pain.
Yeah. In your knees.
But it's indirectly the cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the cancer triggered the arthritis.
Exactly. And the thyroid, it slowed everything down.
And I can't lose weight, which aggravates the knees.
Which aggravates the knees. It's like a cycle.
So the whole thing. And it is amazingly frustrating. My day-to-day quality of life has been impacted in a way that, well, I'm always in pain.
Yeah.
Always. And that sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks.
It's tough.
That's tiring.
Have you found ways to make it better?
Well, allopathically, the only thing that really gets rid of the pain for more than 2 hours at a time is 2 Percocet.
Yeah.
Gotta watch it with that stuff.
Yeah.
My doctor did get me on the medical marijuana program.
Okay. Have you found that good?
Well, what happens is I can't smoke it because of my lungs.
Yeah. You can't do the ganja.
And I can't. I mean, I can eat it, but with the eating it, you end up high, right? Like, you never. It's touch and go.
Yeah.
So I'm looking into vaporizing. I have done some vaping, and when I do it, actually it helps a lot. So I'm seriously looking into managing my day-to-day pain with the marijuana.
That's good.
I'm biking. I'm doing what I can.
Those things help. Yeah.
But really, it's day to day. It's day to day.
It's day to day.
You wake up, you have a bad day. The other thing that has really impacted me, had an impact, is, and again, hindsight is 20/20. At St. Joe's, I did the radioactive iodine that was liquid. Well, I didn't know that there was a pill.
Oh my gosh.
So the more advanced, expensive, is the pill. And what happens is you swallow it, and once it's at a certain point in your bloodstream, it
detonates kind of thing.
It detonates differently.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas where you think of a liquid, it's radiation going all down your esophagus, it's radiation from the second it touches your tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever since I did the radioactive iodine, every once in a while, and there's no predicting it. I've had food journals. I've done a million. There's no predicting it.
Yeah.
Out of the blue, I could be like this one minute, and the next minute I am doubled
Dead.
over, and it is agony. It is
doubled over meaning
agony.
like your stomach?
In half. It's upper. It's here. Yeah, stomach.
Pain.
And it is off the charts agony.
Oh my god.
Literally all I can do is lie in my bed and moan.
And hope that it goes away.
It
How
ends,
long does it last?
usually between 4 to 6 hours. I make myself throw up. I sit in a hot bath.
And this still happens.
I've tried every. I tried. I can't keep any. Like nothing helps. Percocet. Nothing helps. Like I just. The only way to make it go away is to wait.
How often does this happen?
It's random, but I would say maybe once every 2 months.
Oh my. Yeah.
Yeah, I find making myself puke for some reason helps. It's almost like again, I think maybe it's an inflammation thing, or
Yeah.
and something about food triggers it because it's at night, a couple hours after dinner. It's like my digestive system just goes squirrely. I don't know.
It just like freaks. Yeah,
But
it's weird.
it's not like it's dairy that's doing it or chicken that's doing it. There is no.
It's just something that happens.
Yeah,
It's
and
random.
But then what happens is you puke so much, like I get nauseous from it, and then I make
Yeah.
so it's not that I'm making myself puke. I'm getting nauseous.
Yeah.
I'm just right. But then what happens is, and that's why I'm kind of sore today because it happened the other night. You puke so much that your whole torso hurts.
Oh
right?
my
Like
gosh.
so
it aches.
I have different kinds of pain every day in different
Yeah.
ways. It's just you just have to take it day by day.
Yeah. Day
It's
by
the
day.
only way.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Uh,
How would you say, like, in like briefly, how it has changed you? Like you as a person, I guess.
Well, I mean, I used to have a really great career. I was one
Yeah.
step away from VP at a big bank. Like,
Yeah.
I was looking at a 3-year contract and living in Europe. I mean, it changed my priorities
Yeah.
radically. At the same time, in many ways, I think my quality of life has improved.
That's amazing.
I am very lucky in that by working at a bank and having been there for 20 years and getting to the level I got certain benefits, certain things, bonuses, benefits, whatever. So for a person that is on a permanent disability, I have a pretty respectable income.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's nothing what it used to be.
Yeah.
But, most people end up, living in their mom's basement,
Yeah.
broke, right?
Yeah. They just lose it. All
They
their
lose
money.
everything.
Yeah.
They're lucky if they trickle in $500 a month to buy food.
Yeah.
They're at the food banks, right?
Yeah.
Like this is reality.
Yeah.
And
But you still have this steady.
I'm able every month I get a paycheck and
Thank
it's
God.
a pretty good one, and I can pay the mortgage, and got the car, and I'm okay, right?
Mhm.
The other thing is I'm not working. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not well enough to work, and at first that was a very bitter pill because I had really worked hard on my career, and I was very proud of it, and I identified my identity was closely linked with my achievements. I would argue too closely linked, and I look at some of my friends and family, and I see them doing the same thing. It is just a job. You can love your job, you can be great at your job, but it's just a job. And I mean, the bank doesn't care whether I live or die. The bank still makes its billions of dollars.
Yeah.
There may be some people that I worked with in the bank that care.
Yeah. The people. It's the people that are.
But the job is just a job.
Yeah.
And I wanted a dog my entire life.
Yes. Yes.
And 2 years
You got
ago,
to do something
I got
that you
a dog.
wanted.
Also, I started off, in high school and in university studying art and design and architecture. And 20 years at a bank got me very, very far away from my inner, artist.
Yeah.
And so now I am able to, I am about a year ago, I sat down and I thought, okay, what do I want? What do I want?
That's a good question to ask yourself.
What do I want? What's going to make me happy? I can't work. There are a lot. I have a lot of parameters and limitations.
Mhm.
Getting on a plane, I can, but I pay for it. Like the inflammation goes off the charts. The last time I was on a plane, when I got off at the other end, it took me like 3 days to recover. It was
Oh
hell.
my gosh.
So I can travel, but I have to
Yeah.
do it very carefully,
Yeah.
very deliberately,
Mhm.
and unfortunately very expensively because it takes
Mhm.
time, right?
Mhm.
Travel is expensive. So I thought, okay, travel is something I definitely want to do, but I can't do a lot of it. I can't be like, oh, I'm going to die in 5 years. I have to go see all of Europe.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
go, I
yeah.
can't.
It's just
Like it just,
unrealistic.
the physical limitations are too
Yeah,
extreme.
yeah.
I also get plugged in every week, so I have to.
You have to have it.
So I thought,
So you
okay,
have to figure it around this.
what can
yeah.
I around these parameters? What can I do? And I thought, well, I want to just be somewhere close to water on a beach
Yes.
where I can swim and, maybe get back in a boat. I used to paddle,
Yeah.
so canoe again and spend time with the dog and nature. I want to volunteer
Yeah.
and I want to paint and I want to learn how to grow a garden. Like I got into gardening at a community garden in the city about 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and I really like gardening.
Yeah. And you like growing your own foods
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
cooking with them
love to
and
cook.
all that stuff.
So
And those are enjoyable things.
yeah, so so I re-evaluated really my entire life,
Yeah.
and I made a list of goals,
Mhm.
and I've achieved a few of them already.
Mhm. That's amazing.
Yeah. So in many respects, I have a better quality of life now than I ever have in my, ever did while I
Yeah.
was working. Um, but, I'm dealing with, obviously, there's depression and there's, day by day.
Yeah.
I think the other major thing is I don't look sick.
Yeah.
I just look chubby. That's it. People see me
and
and they
just
think
see
there's
that.
a chubba lubba. And that's it.
That's it.
Well, I've learned not to look at other people and judge.
Wow.
Because you don't know what
You
they're
never
going
know
through.
what's behind the scenes.
There
or
have
what's
been
going
several
on.
times where, I have the handicap thing on my car. I couldn't park in those spots.
Mhm.
And there have been several times where I'm having a really good day,
Yeah.
I got a lot of sleep the night before and
Yeah.
whatever, and I park in my handicap spot and I get out of the car and I'm not limping that day and I'm not wheezing
Yeah.
and I actually look good.
Yeah.
And people give me dirty looks for parking because I don't look sick.
Because you don't look sick.
And I feel like, watch it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't know whether, how much morphine I'm on, how much pain. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. So I've learned to try to judge a lot less. I've also learned that it's about priorities.
Yeah.
And if you want something that, you know what I mean, like it's, spending time with family and, making sure the dog gets a workout and,
Yeah.
these things are, I've chosen to prioritize certain things.
Right. And you figured out what you want to prioritize.
I will drive an extra, half hour to do what you know what I mean? Like I'll do what I need to do for certain things.
Mhm.
I've also learned that taking care of myself in this state
Mhm.
is a full-time job.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work. And sometimes I do it well and sometimes I don't. Like I should still be having my green juice every morning and sometimes I just don't have the energy to do it. I just don't do it. So
Yeah. Exactly.
So there you
That's good.
go.
That's good.
Hmm.
Next I want to ask what let's just see for a second cuz you covered a lot of this so perfectly already. What kind of attention do you think you should have received and did not receive?
Well,
That would you just say
9 years
general,
ago, when the first doctor told me
yeah.
to eat less and exercise more, what he should have done is pulled a blood test on my thyroid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because maybe they would have caught it at stage 1, removed my thyroid, and I'd be living in Europe right now.
Yeah.
Probably engaged to the guy that I was dating.
Were you dating a guy at the time?
Yeah. Seriously, dating a guy.
Did you dump him?
He.
It was mutual. Yeah.
A cancer diagnosis is
Yeah.
something that he was living in Europe. He is living in Europe.
Oh, he was in Europe,
And
and you were
it's-
gonna be going. Yeah.
It's hard to. I can't travel. I'm on
Yeah.
disability. I'm terminal. When he heard
Yeah.
that, he freaked out.
Yeah. So it's difficult.
Yeah, dating with cancer is. I mean, I've been on a bunch of dates since I got diagnosed, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It so doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Now maybe that's me. I mean, that's a big part of me, right?
Yeah.
But I sit down at a date, and the third question out of the guy's mouth is, "So what do you do?"
Yeah. Oh God.
Like-
and it's like,
I walk my dog.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just it changes.
It doesn't
everything.
hasn't worked yet. It
just
changes
changes.
everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything.
That's good that it's giving you a better quality of life, though.
In a way.
In a way.
In a way. I mean, I have a hard time walking 90% of the time, but
Yeah.
and breathing when it kind of matters. But I've met some great people, and I spend time with my dog, who's going to become a therapy dog if she passes the exam.
That is so exciting.
And I found a different way to give my life purpose.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not about making money. It's about making the world a better place and
Yes.
being at peace with yourself. I mean, you need money to survive, but
That's good.
yeah, learned a few lessons.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah. But I'm
I
also
feel
very lucky. I have
Yeah. You've grown a lot.
great friends and family, great support system.
Yeah.
I was taught to always challenge things and question and, do research, and I know how to stick up for myself if I need to. I mean, in so many ways, I'm so lucky,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Go on with your questions.
So I'm gonna list out some questions, but if you think you've already answered them, which I think you have, then you can just
Yeah.
can highlight the ones that you want to answer and don't want to answer. But what do you call the problem? What do you think has caused the problem? Why do you think it started when it did? What do you think the sickness does? How does it work? How severe is the sickness? Will it have a short or long course? What kind of treatment do you think the patient should receive? What are the most important results you hope she receives from this treatment? What are the chief problems the sickness has caused? And finally, what do you fear most about the sickness? Would you say I feel like with the first question, like, what do you call the problem? We've touched on that.
Well, the problem is, you call it cancer,
Yeah.
but cancer is caused by a kaleidoscope of things. It's not just one thing.
Right.
And if I look at I mean, I don't know when my cancer started,
Yeah.
but if I look at the conditions that set the stage for it, it was high stress at work,
Yeah.
financial stress,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say poor diet, because I never really ate that badly, but not a healthy diet.
Right.
I
I need to work on mine too.
Well, at your age, it's fine, right? But yeah,
Just those things piled up.
It's a kaleidoscope of things, yeah.
And so when you say what do you think has caused the problem, it's those. It's
All of
those
these things. It's yeah.
Yeah. So then, in
Lack
terms of what do you
balance.
think?
Lack of balance.
Lack of balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lack of balance.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And when this question, what do you think the sickness does? How does it work? Yeah,
Cancer. It grows.
it's cancer and it grows.
Aggressively.
For how severe is the sickness will have a short or long cause. It's long and it's severe.
It's terminal.
Yeah, it's terminal.
Well, they expected it to be short,
Yeah.
but I am
Yeah.
elongating it.
Yeah.
I
You go, girl. I love
think
it.
just saying it's terminal is
Yeah.
enough.
Yes. And then what else?
What do I fear most?
What do you fear most about the sickness? Yeah.
The things I fear,
It's a tough question.
I fear. Well, there's one I know. I fear extreme pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already in
You've already gone through.
But when the final stage of thyroid cancer could be bone or bone marrow,
Oh.
and those are the two
God.
most painful.
That's what Nono had to deal
The
with.
nose is the most painful. Bone marrow, bone is pretty close. And I'm terrified of
God.
that.
You're terrified of it spreading to
I'm
that?
terrified of that. That having that pain.
Yeah.
I'm also scared. I'm scared of the how of the dying. A little bit less about the actual dying, and more about the actual how.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's all over my lungs. Am I going to suffocate one day just on my own lungs? Like, how does that work? That scares me.
Yeah.
And
How will it How will it happen?
Yeah.
Will it be painful?
and
Will
how
it be
terrifying
long?
will it be? Yeah.
Will it be scary?
And how much control will I have? And the other
Yeah.
thing is, the thing that really augments that fear is the fact that I have zero trust and confidence
Yeah.
in the system and the doctors.
Yeah.
And I'm in their hands when I'm in those moments. That scares the living shit out of me.
So the fact that
That's,
you are in the hands of the doctors, which you don't trust.
I don't trust the system. I mean, they didn't manage Dad's pain well.
Yeah.
I've witnessed such a broken, inhumane system.
Oh my gosh.
And not all of it is like that, I know that.
There's just big parts of it
But
that
I've
are.
witnessed parts of it that are just so brutal that I think, oh my god, like, when I get to that level of pain, are they going to manage me as badly as they managed Dad? And what you know, so the combination of being scared about the how
Yeah.
and the when,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, knowing that when I'm in that kind of the most vulnerable point of my life, I'm in the hands of
Yeah.
people I don't necessarily trust.
Yeah.
That just absolutely terrifies.
That would scare me too.
And
I
then
would be scared of all of that.
When you don't, on top of that is the family. In the family,
Yeah.
which I need to have power of attorney for my health. They're not talking to each other, and
Yeah.
they have such radically different views. And instead of talking, they argue and they
Yeah.
get frustrated. And
The arguing doesn't get anywhere.
Carol's way over there, and Val's way over there, and Steven's his head up his ass.
Yeah.
And Matisse is
That makes
just
sense.
terrified of
In
everything.
the clouds, yeah.
Anyway,
It's difficult,
yeah, because
especially
I may need their help, and
people
I don't know
are
if they'll be
helpful. It's okay.
if they'll be caring about each other while, like,
Yeah.
you know,
If they'll stick together and support each
and
other.
come up with a decision that everybody's comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, I need,
If they'll work together.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So it's family too. There's other
there's
questions
a whole, but
about
that's
family.
that's the
Yeah.
whole.
It's a whole other thing.
I mean, look at what happened to us after Dad died. The family
Yeah.
just.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So that makes me very, very sad.
Yeah.
The fact that we're not dealing with things as well as we
Mm-hmm.
might be able to. Everybody's doing their best,
Because
but,
grief is, yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That makes me very, very sad.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things I'm scared of.
Yeah. I would be scared too. It's okay to have it.
Yeah, the other thing.
As long as you don't let it control you, then
No, the other
Yeah.
thing that. So there are a few things I was scared of. Leticia really went off the rails when Dad died. Really went off the rails.
yeah.
And I'm her best friend, right?
Yeah, you
I
are.
worry about her. I worry about her. If I die, I really, really worry about Leticia.
And about what will happen, about how she'll
Her
feel.
and I've talked about that very openly, and I know that when
Yeah.
she's, when she sees the people she sees, she talks about it. But there's no being ready. There's no.
Nothing can
Yeah.
prepare you ever.
Yeah.
And nothing can ever fix.
No.
Yeah. With grief.
Yeah. Those are
Yeah.
the things I worry about.
Yeah.
And poor little Pax missing.
Little Pax. Oh my gosh. I have faith that you'll
Outlive
you'll
Pax?
outlive Pax. You'll be, darn it, you'll be like, oh, I wish Pax died before me. I mean, died after me. I said that to my mom once because I was like with her and I was like, oh, I'll just die before you because then I'll never have to deal with you losing. And she was like,
No.
no. She was like, I'm tapping out at 70 or something like that.
That's so Val.
I know. Other questions to consider if you'd like to answer them.
Yeah.
More of the stuff. In the past, have you ever had an illness episode that you consider similar to your current health problem?
No.
If yes. Did a person in your family ever experience an illness episode similar to yours?
Dad.
Yes. And he had what type
Prostate
of cancer?
cancer.
Prostate cancer. He had prostate cancer. If yes, in what ways do you consider your illness episode to be similar to or different from this person's illness episode? Both cancer, I guess.
Both cancer. Both of us could have been caught earlier, but due to the negligence and poor work ethic of
Yes.
really the incompetence of doctors,
Yeah.
we weren't caught earlier. Both were found very late stage terminal.
Yeah.
And in both cases,
God.
isn't it weird?
God.
And
Yeah.
in both cases, the doctors were not willing. None of the doctors were open-minded enough to work in coordination with a naturopath, so that we get the best. The doctor's not concerned about us getting the best care possible.
Why do you think that is? Do you have a theory?
I have several theories. I think they've been.
Because you think that people would become doctors because they want to help people.
Yeah, but the system, the
money-driven?
schooling system and everything has evolved over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
In a way that, if for some reason, about 80 years ago, there was a split. And you either look at natural stuff or you look at artificial stuff.
Yeah.
And the artificial stuff is where the money is. And the natural stuff takes longer. And because the natural stuff is based on, word of, a lot of tradition, and it's poo-pooed. Not scientific enough.
It's not
Yeah.
straight, direct,
Yeah.
100%
Exactly.
everything, right?
So
Yeah.
it just the way and in some cases they're coming back together. My naturopath spends 3 days a week in a medical doctor's office.
I think that's good that both of them
Doing IVs.
combine.
So that is
Yeah.
holistic. Why are they not working together? That is but I mean, I have tried to get my doctors to work with my naturopath, and they just won't.
They just
He's
won't.
offered to come to their offices. But they just won't.
Oh my gosh.
So that's-
Do you think a lot of it's stubbornness?
Yeah,
It's just the way it works.
yeah. It's just the way they've been taught to be that way.
Yeah.
That's just the way they think.
Can you recall any serious sicknesses as a child? No?
Nope. I didn't even get chicken pox until I was in my teens.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
solid as a rock, man.
And if you were ever to get sick, were there any other kinds of healers in your community? Like out of the different people that you've had heal you like Nona, and Nono, naturopathy.
Okay, so
naturopathist.
I've done IV. I've done acupuncture. a dietitian, like nutrition, and then doctors. No, yeah,
Yeah. So, in terms of present context now,
yes.
so today,
Here I is.
here I is. I like it. Kramer. Who are you living with now?
Me and my dog.
Me, myself and I, and Paxi and,
And
Pepper.
Pepper.
I love that they both start with P.
Yes.
PP. Who is working, who's in school? Well, Pax doesn't work, except for
Nobody.
nobody. Everyone's chilling.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So many people dream about that. So many people want that.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, even though, like, it's exciting to have the career and everything, whatever, I still wouldn't know, but even though it's exciting to have that, I feel like a lot of people have 40 years in a miserable job that all they dream
do.
about is vacationing in Tahiti and doing nothing and eating everything and just not,
Yeah.
and having a dog.
Yeah.
And following their hobbies.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day,
We're not put on this
Yeah.
planet to make money for World Bank.
no. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. The only thing
When you
that
look at
ruins it is the knees.
Yeah. We gotta get, as soon as we fix that, then it's
Done.
perfect. Then it's perfect. Has anyone in the family or the household been sick over the past year?
I'd say Leticia.
Leticia.
Yeah.
What-
But not in my household. No.
Not in your household, but a family member.
Yeah.
Yeah. With mental.
Yeah.
Mental illness.
Yeah.
In the past year, how many times has anyone in the household seen a doctor, a nurse, or other healthcare professional? So
Yeah, it's
you.
talking about my household.
Yeah.
know,
So.
Other than me.
Yeah. Like, how about you? Like,
Oh,
for
God.
yourself,
All the time,
constantly, all
yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
lots of appointments,
Yeah.
lots of stuff like
Well, they're
that.
tapering down. They're tapering down.
Yeah. Was there any time when a doctor was not consulted when you thought that you or someone in the household should have been?
No.
No. That's good. Do you have a family doctor?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the best, how would you rate the medical care and attention you and your family members have gotten this year?
This year.
This year. So this is present. This is things you're doing this year, the way you've been doing
Not the
this year.
naturopath. This is allopathic or naturopathic or both?
This is both. This is care. This is medical care. And this is care in any way. One of the stories that we were doing is by the Hmong people, and for them it's about the healing of the soul, and and that's one of the texts that we're diving into, and that's not
Level
needles
of care
and
have I received?
this year.
1 being good, 5 being bad?
Yeah,
4.
4. Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. This is on fire.
yeah. So 4 is the
Yeah, my knee.
people don't. They just not
I
helpful.
can't- I can't.
Yeah, I can't get into it. Once you start, it's what are the qualities you look for in a doctor or other health caregivers?
Intelligence.
Intelligence,
Current knowledge.
knowledge, up to date, somewhat modern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I find is amazingly
absent,
absent. Open-mindedness
open-mindedness,
and kindness.
kindness,
That's missing.
Care.
Oh God, that's missing.
even love.
Yeah.
Like even just give some love.
Just be kind.
Yeah, like I can't. That's the thing I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's why Blitz really stood out.
Yeah,
He was
to you.
just kind.
He wanted to hear. Like, did you ever have a time where you were cut off
Oh my
when
God,
you were explaining
constantly.
something
Constantly.
because you were telling your story and then it was they
Yeah.
didn't want to care. They didn't want to hear about the
But I
extra
told
fluff.
it. Okay, she says to me, you know, there are no side effects to radioactive iodine, but your saliva glands might stop, because I pushed. And then, sure, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Your saliva glands might stop working, blah, blah. Okay, well, I would call that a side effect. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fine. For how long, right? 6 months or what? And then she keeps reading. She was reading a little page,
Yeah.
right? And she goes, okay, so when you take the radioactive iodine, you can't get pregnant for 2 to 3 years.
Oh my.
Wait,
Hold up.
why?
Yeah.
Why can't I get pregnant? Well, because you just took radioactive iodine, but there are no side effects. So why can't I get pregnant? Well, because the fetus will be impacted. The fetus, so that's
So that's a side effect.
so if the fetus may be impacted, what like
Why does it say no side effect? Yeah.
if I take radioactive iodine and 18 months later, my fetus can still be impacted. What else is being impacted?
Yeah.
My ovaries and my
Yeah.
uterus are not sitting out here on their own.
Yeah.
Did you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So where's the common sense?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I would say that's a side effect.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow,
Oh
we're just
my
saying don't get
gosh.
pregnant. But I'm like, you're not hearing me. And so I said to her, well, if that's happening, if that is potential, then what other side effects are there? Is my period going to be affected? Am I going
Yeah.
to have more cramps? Am I going to have,
Yeah.
right? Like, does it,
What
is
else?
Is it only
Yeah.
there in
Tell me
that,
everything.
right?
Yeah.
And she insisted there are no side effects. I'm like, oh my God, it's like talking to a fucking robot. Engage your brain.
Yeah.
If you're telling me 18 months later the baby could come out dead or
Yeah.
whatever, obviously the radiation is in my system all that time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me it's in my system and not doing damage. Because it is.
Yeah.
It's radiation. The fucking atomic bomb is made of
Yeah.
it. So it's doing damage. Don't deny it.
Yeah.
Tell me how to deal with it.
Yes. Help me out.
Oh!
Did you ever want to punch them in the face?
Yeah, constantly.
Cut off their heads?
It's just so obvious though.
Yeah.
So they act like you're stupid. Like if she puts something, like telling me this table is purple.
Yeah.
It's not fucking purple.
It's
I can
not-
see it's green.
It's blue. It's green.
Whatever.
Turquoise.
Teal.
That's frustrating.
Anyway.
Okay, so finally, in the
Yes.
last section, general reflections.
Oh.
How exciting.
Yes.
So, how did the illness, how would you say the illness experience changed your life or the way you live today?
Radically.
So radically. Your whole lifestyle's
Everything's
changed.
prioritized
That's
differently.
similar to what we've said about
Yeah, I mean,
taking it day by day.
I might have been on the brink of poverty for a while. It was everything.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
How did it change the way you think about yourself, your body, your self-image, your personal life, and your life in general?
I'm working on that. It has not impacted me in a positive way.
No.
It's very hard not to think of yourself as broken.
Yeah.
And when you do think of yourself as this broken, not just a little bit broken, but very broken,
Yeah.
then it's hard not to blame yourself.
Yeah.
And still feel deserving of time and affection. And
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard not to be hard.
I mean,
on
I've always
yourself.
liked having my own space, and
Yeah.
you know, it's not about being single or not being single. It's about you know, I have some great friends that come out and help me,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be the friend that always needs help, and
Yeah.
so I'm looking always for ways to help my
To help your
friends. And
friends, because you don't want to be
there.
the poor. You don't want.
I don't want to be the
Nobody
the
wants
victim.
that.
Yeah,
Nobody wants.
But
yeah.
I do. You know, I
But
take
you
the help. I
yeah.
need it.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to be.
With that being said, I still think I have a lot to offer. You know,
You do.
it's not that I don't like who I am. It's that sometimes I don't like how I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's a lot of people, I think.
I'm not good at not meeting my goals. I
Yeah.
just set a goal and I meet it.
And you do it.
And now I just
you do
have
it.
so
But
many
it's hard.
parameters
There's
now.
so many more obstacles to
Yeah.
jump over every time you want to do something.
Yeah,
So it makes it difficult.
I get very frustrated with my limitations. Very, very frustrated with
Because you've experienced not having those
yeah,
limitations.
and now I have severe ones.
Yeah. Exactly. What does being healthy mean to you?
What does being healthy mean to me? Wow. Being strong.
Yes.
being balanced.
Being balanced. That's good. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
I think that's powerful.
being balanced is,
Mhm.
you know.
So it's not just about the food and the this. Like it's
Yeah.
not just physical, it's mental to you as well. It's like it's both being healthy is both mental.
So some words that have always stayed with me, and I think are some of the wisest words I've ever heard, is when Dad said to me,
Mhm.
I was looking back at a situation, I was cutting it up and
Yeah.
cutting myself up, and Dad said, "Were you as loving as you could be?"
Mhm.
And he said, "Remember that means being loving to yourself too, right?
No, you have to love yourself.
Right? But so
Sometimes you have to love yourself first before you can.
well, so I think perfect health is when somebody is able to be perfectly loving,
Wow.
whether including yourself, like
Mhm.
you're treating yourself with respect and love, you're treating the people around you with respect and love. I think you're only really able to do that, really,
Mhm.
if you're not in pain, if you have good self-esteem, if you're
Mhm.
treating yourself well,
Yeah.
if you're listening to other, right? Like
A
it's
lot of it's here.
yeah, yeah, but it's also,
90%
I
of it.
mean, they say that, like, you know, those people that are in jobs where they're standing for 8 hours, when your feet hurt, you can see it in your eyes, right?
Yeah.
My mom always said that. When your feet hurt, you can see it in your eyes. It's
Wow.
pain does something to people, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think perfect health is when you can be perfectly.
Loving.
There, it's perfect, but
Yeah.
loving. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's how I see that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's one of my guiding things. Whenever I look back at a situation,
Mhm.
I ask myself, how could I have been more loving?
Yeah.
Could I have listened better? Maybe loving means being strict.
Mhm.
Maybe loving
Yeah.
means being,
Yeah.
right?
But ultimately, it's about the loving
Yeah,
in the end. I love that.
that's Dad.
Yeah. That's special.
Yeah.
What do you do to stay healthy? You'd
Oh,
say,
we've been through that.
yeah, we've been through that. What things are most harmful to people's health?
Stress,
Stress,
loneliness,
loneliness. Yeah, I agree with that.
and lack of support, both financial and
Yeah,
people supporting them.
yeah, yeah.
Blame is another one. Blame.
Oh, it doesn't. It's bad.
People want to blame.
It's a bad cycle.
Yeah.
People, yeah, because people want to feel good, right? So then they
Yeah.
have to dump all their stuff.
Also,
on
society
others.
has built this thing where it's everybody's on their own.
Yeah,
So lack of community.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um.
I
What
also
does-
meditate.
Oh, meditating.
I also
That's a
meditate.
great thing. My roommate does that.
I try to start every morning with a meditation.
Do you have the Calm app?
The what?
The Calm app.
No.
Oh, it's awesome. I'll tell you about
Oh,
it later.
yeah,
It's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
My roommate uses it every night.
Oh.
What does being sick mean to you? If you can think of anything.
Well, having limitations.
Yeah.
Having limitations that I can't do anything about.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, finally, do you think there's any larger purpose or meaning to sickness?
Oh. I mean, I think, I wouldn't say that I think via sickness we can learn a lot of big things. Like I've learned to make sure that it's about people, it's about spending time with people, it's reprioritizing my life, right? And I think I've learned a lot of positive things. In many ways, I'm thankful I have cancer, right? But was it like, did I get it in order to learn these things? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if we're getting into like karma and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know, right? But I think it can be just like anything.
Yeah.
Any experience can be used
With alternate meaning.
Well, yeah, you know, to learn and grow and
Mm-hmm.
get stronger if you can,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you know, some of my friends have stopped eating sugar. Some of my friends have
Yeah.
stopped eating dairy.
Yeah.
I
You
had
can make an impact.
yeah, I knew a girl that was diagnosed with breast cancer, and long story, she ended up dying. But
Yeah.
there was a while there where we were talking on the phone, and I told her about the soup and about the
Yeah.
and stuff because, and she got a lot better, and she was able to spend a little bit more
Oh
time
my
with her 2 kids. And
gosh.
I'm not saying it's because of me, but I helped.
But you helped. You made a
I
difference.
helped, and
Yeah.
you know,
It's made you a better person in many ways,
I
maybe.
think so. I think it's helped me
Yeah.
realize really what matters.
And the loving.
It's also, I think, in some ways made me stand up for myself a little bit more. I don't know if
Yeah.
beforehand I would have fired a doctor,
Yeah. I
but
don't know if I
now
could do
now I don't have
You
patience
don't-
for
you
that
don't
bullshit.
take crap.
Yeah, no.
that. You're stronger.
Yeah, I still do take a lot of crap in other
Stronger
ways,
and
but
wiser.
I've always been that person
Yeah,
that will just
same.
bend. I just bend.
I've always been a doormat type of person. In a way. Not totally I guess not a doormat, but like.
I think now
Yeah, I
when
do
I'm
that
taking
too.
crap, I know I'm taking crap, and I think,
Yeah.
okay,
You're aware.
in order to just have this go
Yeah.
smoothly, I'm gonna take this crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you glad to be in a stable state? Like, are you glad that the vitamin C is helping? And
I'm very thankful that I have found alternate means to prolong my life. I just wish I wasn't in so much pain all the time.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish it didn't cost so damn much.
I know. The money's a drain.
Jeez. Anyway.
It's nice that throughout, even though there was a lot of crappy doctors, that there were some good
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And I'm glad Nona said that to you.
I'm
Love
very
it.
thankful for him.
Yeah. I'm thankful for you.
Oh,
I love
I
you.
love you too.
Thank you so much.
Is that enough?
I think so. I think so it is.
I want you to get an A++.
Yay! Thanks.